Hi everybody, I'm Chef Ange. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my kitchen. On today's episode, I got an amazing recipe video for you, and full disclosure, I never practiced this. I wasn't too sure what I was gonna film today, and as I was driving in my car, I thought of this recipe and I thought of the combination of meatballs and buffalo chicken wings together, and it came out better than I could have ever imagined. Make this for your next party, and this is gonna be the total star of the show. People are gonna go crazy for this, and you're gonna tell them where you found the recipe. And before I get into the recipe video, check the description box below. Down there's the full ingredients and all the directions if you wanna print the recipe out. But let's get into the recipe and let's get cooking.
The secret to making moist meatballs, especially when you're using a lean meat like chicken, is getting flavor and moisture into the meatball. So just like I did in my meatloaf recipe, we're gonna get some moisture and some flavor into the meatballs by making a vegetable flavor paste. And we're gonna just use some standard aromatics like garlic, which I absolutely love, I can't get enough of, onions, celery, some carrots, and some red bell pepper. As vegetables cook, they give off moisture and they also soften. So this is going to help us from a flavor and a texture perspective. Not only that, but the color from these vegetables are also going to add a really nice color to the meatballs. And remember, we eat with our eyes before we even eat with our other senses like our smell and our taste. So you got to make food look good. And we're going to use our friend the food processor because you would never get this down to a consistency like the food processor could with a knife. It would just take forever, but just in a couple seconds we can pulse this down. You know, make sure that when you're using your food processor, you're trying to get everything as equal as possible. So if there's some big chunks to the top, periodically push those back down to the bottom so the blades can get them. And we're going to keep processing this down until this is super finely chopped. So not only does the fine chopping let you blend that vegetable into the meatball so you can never find it, it's just going to release that moisture super easy. Now we're going to make a dipping sauce because we're going to want this dipping sauce to chill out in the fridge so the flavors all come together. So I've been doing a lot of dipping sauces with the combo of using some 0% Greek yogurt and some light sour cream to just cut some calories. And now we're going to use some semi-homemade ranch seasoning that we're going to put in there with just a splash of vinegar for some acidity. And now we're going to give this a mix. And this is a really simple, low-calorie ranch dressing that we're going to use to put on top and dip these meatballs. It could probably be a little thinner, so we're just going to add a little bit of water. We want to get it to the right consistency, so when we put this in a squeeze bottle, we could squeeze it right on top of the meatballs. There's no exact recipe for this, but I'm going to give you a shot in the description box. If you want the full recipe and description, it's all be down there. But you can see that as I'm building this sauce, I am figuring it out as I go. I taste, I look, and based upon what I'm seeing and what I'm tasting, I'll add a little bit of salt, a little bit of the seasoning. Maybe I'll thin it out with a little bit of water. But once it's at the right consistency and the right flavor, we're going to send this in the fridge. Now let's take that vegetable paste that we made and let's soften it up. So we'll put a little olive oil in this pan over a medium heat. We're not trying to get a sear on these vegetables. We're just trying to sweat them out a little bit. We just want to get them to the point where they start to release moisture and they're nice and soft. All of your components of food always have to be seasoned, so we're going to season these with a pinch of salt and some pepper. The salt's going to help pull out a little bit of moisture, and we also want to make sure that we're flavoring all the components of our meatballs. Talking about flavor, let's use a little cheat code right here. We're going to put some chicken bouillon paste in there for some extra umami flavor, and we're just going to mix that paste right into the softening and moist vegetables. This is going to help add just another layer of flavor. So once that's cooked, we're going to set that aside, and we're going to take our ground chicken and we're going to put it in a container, and we're going to start to assemble our meatballs. Here we're going to add some seasoned panko breadcrumbs. We're going to add 2 eggs. A good ratio for eggs to meat is for every pound of meat that you're making a meatball, you add 1 egg. And then in goes that softened vegetable flavor paste. Now we're going to season with my base seasoning, which is a blend of garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and pepper. I suggest you make a batch of this if you haven't already. Now we're going to throw in some smoked paprika for a little smoky flavor and a nice red color. I love this stuff. It almost goes in everything. And now we're going to take the same stuff that we're going to make a sauce with, and we're going to put it right inside the meatball. So we're going with some Frank's Red Hot. It's just going to go right inside the mix. And now we're going to put a little bit of chopped parsley for some color, I love doing this to all meatballs. And now we're going to mix, and we're going to make sure that we're being pretty efficient with our mixing to not overmix. The biggest sin that people make with meatloaf and meatballs is overmixing, and then it becomes dense and gummy. So once it seems like it's mixed enough, please stop. And now let's form these meatballs by hand. We're going to go much smaller than we would on a beef meatball. This wants to be an appetizer that you could just pop in your mouth and you can eat in one bite. So we're going to go probably a little bit bigger than a golf ball. All meat shrinks back once it's cooked, so once these go in the oven, they're going to shrink back a little bit. And I want to make sure that I'm keeping space on the baking sheet in between them. I'm going to give them just a little bit of a spray with some oil on top just to make sure that we're getting some nice brown color and we're not getting any burning. And these are going to go in a 400-degree oven. And I do have the convection setting on because I do want to get some browning on the outside. They're going to cook for anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes or until we get that nice brown color. So now, while those are in the oven, we're going to make some simple buffalo sauce by melting down some butter, adding some Frank's Red Hot, and we're going to add a touch of some Worcestershire sauce. This is a new pronunciation for me. I'm trying this one out. I'm trying not to go just down to the W sauce. Let me know in the comment section how you think I did. So now we're just going to give this a mix until it's just a nice uniform color. Now it reaches this perfect color like a red leather jacket. And we're going to set this sauce aside. Doesn't really need to cook much. I'll just need to melt that butter and for everything to be incorporated. So now let's check on our meatballs and see how those are looking. And these have a beautiful, nice brown color on them. So these are good to go. Chicken cooks pretty fast. I mean, you could use a thermometer, but once you got some good browning on the outside and you made them to the right size, they should be cooked. So we're going to let these cool before we start handling them, but we're going to chop up some chives. And now I'm going to add these to the bowl one at a time. I'm making sure that I'm handling these meatballs really nicely. I'm probably putting way too many in the bowl, and I could have done this in batches, but I'm going to pour the sauce right on top. And now we're going to give these a nice gentle toss, swirling them around in the bowl, getting them nice and coated with that sauce. Again, there's probably way too many meatballs in here, but I got away with tossing them all without breaking them. And you can see that nice brown color from the bottom of these. And once these are coated, let's start putting them on a serving tray that your guests are going to see. So we're going to put them on there one at a time, line them up really nice. They can go a little bit tighter than they were on the baking sheet. And then we're going to drizzle that low-cal ranch sauce right on the top. Your guests won't even know this is low-cal. It tastes that good. And once these are sauced up, we're going to sprinkle on some blue cheese crumbles. You know, the big debate in the whole buffalo wing world, which I guess these meatballs are now in, is ranch or blue cheese for a dipping sauce. I like both, so we're going to put both of them on there. I think it's a beautiful combo. And now we're going to sprinkle on some of those chopped chives. I love finishing dishes with fresh herbs. It really gets chef status. It's what people associate with gourmet food. And now make sure before you put these out that you eat a couple, because I guarantee when you go back to that plate, it's going to be empty and you're not going to have any, and everyone's going to tell you how good they were.
Well, the meatballs are ready and the party has started. Let's give one of these a shot. So, pick this one right here. I mean, look how delicious and wonderful that looks. The buffalo chicken, a little bit of that blue cheese, that ranch sauce on top. Pretty healthy too, compared to other alternatives, but, well, let's see how we did. Wow. I mean, it tastes just like a chicken wing, but it's got that wonderful meatball texture, beautifully tender. The heat's coming through from the hot sauce. We don't even have to have a party. I can finish this whole tray by myself. And they're perfectly small. And remember, like I said, you don't want to make these overly big like you would a beef meatball. A beef meatball you can cut into, you know, with a knife or a fork. This you just want to grab, maybe throw it on a toothpick, and just pop it in your mouth. Well, I'm going to finish the rest of these meatballs. If you did like this video, give the like button a little love. Let me know in the comments section how yours comes out. If this is your first time here, subscribe to my channel if you like the video, and you'll get more recipe and tip videos every week. Thanks for watching.